Good morning and welcome to my channel. It's a beautiful day here in California. We've been enjoying 70+ degree weather, and I have a beautiful project to share with you today. It is a custom made fabric journal for a lady named Sandra, and I am doing this mostly for her sake, but of course sharing some of my tips and techniques with you along the way. She had watched my previous videos on the other fabric journals that I did, and I had used red as an accent color just because it showed off the contrast to the cream, the ivories, and the whites, and also because it was Valentine's Day coming up, so that's why I chose red for the other ones. She suggested either a pink or a purple for hers, and we settled on more of a peachy pink blush tone, not so much the bluey tone pinks. And I hope I have achieved her expectations. I'm very pleased. I absolutely fall in love with the journals that I create, and I would love them for myself, every single one, and it is an honor for me to pass it on and give it to her, and I'm sure she's going to just love it. So here we've got all muslin pages, and I have covered the outside with some beautiful vintage lace and another doily, and then I kind of was thinking it was a little too plain, so I am toying with adding this final little piece here. She can move around, you know, any of the charms and embellishments if she wants to put them on the front, or the beads, whatever she would like. And we did settle on this lace scarf closure tie. I am also including some silk ties that she can swap out if she decides she doesn't really care for this look. The vintage buttons on the spine are sewn in, and they do match the ties, just plain on the back. And what else can I tell you? No digitals in here, pretty much no digitals. I used Prima paper, the Tales of You and Me, and I also had a beautiful paper pad from Hobby Lobby. I believe it's the Kirby Tisdale one. It had sewing and birds on it, which were also her favorite theme items, and I was able to incorporate them quite nicely actually. So let's open up inside. So we have this nice soft lace tie closure, and what I've done is put a few beads and charms down the side, cascading down the side, so it's some prettiness for her to look at. Lots of vintage buttons throughout. These particular 3 beads are dangles that came from Sheila Gingrich from Boho Daydreams, and they are my favorite color for sure. I believe these 1 or 2 of them are from the Princess Dangle set that she that I got from her. Beautiful, just absolutely stunning. And of course, Sandra, these can be removed. You can take them off if you're wanting to use the journal and it's just too bulky and awkward. Go for it. We've got some beautiful vintage crocheted lace on the side here, and it's very soft and floppy. Again, for the closure, I left a space between the top and the bottom so you could easily thread the ties on or off if you choose to. And now let's just make sure we're in the center, and away we go. So what can I tell you here other than I love the colors? It's just so beautiful. This peachy pink is just so stunning, truly stunning. Here is our first tag. I have used cardstock and then some modern lace. This piece is actually pink modern lace. And I made all the little belly bands or tuck spots mostly with the embellishment trims from Sheila. And then just used some cut up Swiss dot on chiffon fabric from a garment, from a blouse that I've cut up as the topper, and stamped on the back with the word vintage. Those stamps come from Tailor Made Journals, which is Lorna Taylor. And then, there's always at least 2 tags in these that I've created. So there's extra space for journaling, both sides of each tag. And this is one of the images from, I believe it's Kirby Tisdale. Pretty sure it is. And the vintage ladies on there. Vintage ladies and such throughout this journal. And then we have an envelope that I've made from Vintage Sheet Music. I've attached a beautiful crocheted corner piece on there. And then inside I've just got a card for her with some details, and I will tuck the tie pieces in here for her as well. And this sweet little tag just goes in here, and that's a little Valentine for her. So that is the inside front cover with this beautiful, beautiful vintage lace. All the little threads and bits. When you're doing a junk journal, you've got to expect fluff and threads because it is a junk journal after all. And I did leave some of the original thread tags from the crocheted pieces so that she can just cut them off herself if she wants. It's mostly so that they don't unravel. And then with the edges of the pages, because it's rough sewn, I did zigzag around each page, but you will have threads, and that's all part of the charm of having a vintage journal. Here we've got an incredible piece of crocheted lace, and it was part of the same set that I got, all kinds of corners and different shapes, and I thought at first, what the heck am I going to do with those? But they're amazing because they're already shaped to what you need. And these fabric journals are a little bit taller. I think it's 9 inches. Yes, 9 inches. So these longer pieces fit just beautifully because I wouldn't want to have to cut it off. Then I added this sweet little crocheted flower with the tassels on it, and I've just knotted it once. She can tie it in a bow, do whatever she wants, but I just like the loose effect of the ties hanging down. Here's another beautiful Valentine in gorgeous colors of ivory and the soft rose. And then a tag that I have made, just a tall tag with the word vintage style. Those, of course, can be journaled on the back as well. And those just tuck in here nicely. And I left the original pink tag topper on that tag because I had purchased it as it was. This I've added some beautiful sort of peach colored silk to the tag topper. And on this side we've got this lovely crocheted lace, and I've added a charm on a bulb pin of a Singer sewing machine. Sandra's mother was a seamstress, so I'm hoping this is going to be extra meaningful to her, that she will think of her mom when she looks at her beautiful journal. On this side of the page, we've got a beautiful pocket, and I've added some, this is actually a piece of modern lace. This is a vintage handkerchief that I have cut into 4 pieces, folded it over and stitched onto the page. And then in here we have 2 tags. This is just a plain tag, so she can do lots of journaling on this one. And I've included one of my tiny tags made out of Edith Holden paper. And a beautiful little vintage charm and some fibers for the topper. So that goes here, and then this tag is vintage lace with some silk, very soft pink silk run through it, and I just stitched around the images just to give it a nice texture. Beautiful piece of vintage lace on this side, and I've just added some more vintage lace on the top here because this piece was a little shorter than 9 inches. And I've got another double tag here. Double reversible tags. That's kind of been my thing lately. So we've got some graphic 45 stamps on the back. Some of Sheila's beautiful trim. And this fabric came from a scarf. And what I did was I did the wrapping method and then added parchment paper to the back, stitched them together, and then you have a smoother finish. And a lovely garment here on the back, some vintage lace, and a lovely fiber topper completes this tag set. These colors just matched her journal so beautifully. I hope she's pleased. And then we've got a pocket here on this side. I used some fabulous fabric. And what I've got is these extra journals. I made some mini journals for her, and they're actually quite weighty. They got really thick, but I have to include them because it's birds and sewing. I mean, how perfect is that for her? Then I just added some lovely little butterfly beads to the side, some lace that I sewed on there, and then just some random small items for her to discover as she's looking through the journal. And I just kept it very simple. Book page, journaling pages, some washi stickers, music paper, some bird stamps, and ledger paper tea-dyed, and lots and lots and lots of extra space for journaling and keeping notes. And then I've also got this tag that goes in the pocket with some seam binding that's been ruched or ruffled, and a tiny tag again with a vintage button and some lace as the topper. So those get tucked into here. I love this lace when it's so transparent. You can see that there's something interesting inside, and it just begs you to have a look at it. So that goes perfectly in here, and then the beads can either dangle down the side or you can just tuck them in. And on this side of the page, we've got an amazing pink vintage doily, and I've added one of the appliques, the hand-dyed appliques from Barbara Nikki Lee Seavey on Etsy. She is Ravioli Dreams. She's part of our Boho Daydreams Facebook group as well. I used 3 or 4 of her appliques in this journal, and they are stunning, absolutely stunning. This little double set of tags is lots of lace just collaged on there, and beautiful embellished trim from Sheila, some chiffon fabric that I've ripped up into strips so I can do tag toppers with it, and some stamping, graphic 45 stamping, and an elegant lady. Lots of room for journaling. This is actually a triple tag. If you want, you can just tuck something else in there. Plenty of space to add things in this journal. And then on the side, I've got this lovely dangly charm. You can get these at Hobby Lobby, I believe. And it is a pair of scissors, a measuring tape, a rosette, and a button. And the scissors have a pearl on them, just so sweet and feminine. So she can move that around anywhere, but I like the way it dangled down the side. And here we've got a beautiful vintage doily, and I've added this tag to the pocket. It's got velvet and lace on it, and some beautiful vintage trim. Sorry, I'm fumbling around on it. Sorry silk topper, and another one of the appliques from Ravioli Dreams. And this journaling card just comes straight out here. Love these little Edith Holden tags. So clever, I think. This probably is going to be my favorite page. I absolutely love the way this turned out. I just took I believe it's a napkin. I don't think these are hankies. They're a little heavier. So a napkin, and I cut, well, I didn't cut it into 4. I only cut this one into half. And then I used part of the leftover to make the flap, which I sewed onto the top of the back page. And then just added this perfect little piece of crochet doily and a dangle and some silk. This is hand embroidered here. And I left it extending a little bit here so it would have the same distance of the design from the crochet doily on here. And just added some more vintage lace here. And I'm absolutely in love with it. I just think it turned out so well. I hope she enjoys it too. Here we've got the center of the journal, center signature of the signature. And I've got the double page spread done with vintage lace in the white. And then I attached a motif applique that I sewed. I actually sewed this one on ahead of time because it wasn't an afterthought. I knew I wanted it this way. So it's not glued, it's actually stitched. And then I wanted to balance this page out, so I added this incredibly beautiful antique French lace with seed beads and sequins hand sewn onto there. It is a stunner. So on this side, we've got just an envelope that's actually a journaling page stamped on the inside. And I've sewn some vintage lace here and run some silk ribbon through this side, and it's got the lovely bird on it. And the color, of course, was perfect for this project. Love it. The tag on this side has a sweet little birdie. That's a purchase tag. And I just changed out the color of the topper for this peach silk. Another double tag. Actually, this one's a triple. And lots of room for journaling on the back. The stamp of a sewing machine here. Some vintage lace as the topper. Vintage buttons on a bulb pin. And this is an image of an old, looks like a Singer sewing machine. And just some lace and some vintage trim collaged together here. Sometimes the laces catch a bit. And I just tucked this little guy right in here. Or you could put them both in here. Be a little bit difficult, but you could get this one in the bottom and then just put the little birdie tag in the top, however she wants to do it. And then I've just got a little button charm hanging on the side. We had talked about metal colors, and I didn't, she thought she would prefer silver, and what I had was all the polished bronze. So that's what I stuck with, but I did include one little tiny silver rondelle in the dangle at the bottom. This is the beads selection that I have added to the bottom of the strings at the center of the journal. I just thought they looked very romantic and kept the theme of the color. On this side, we have some beautiful blush colored vintage lace, and I've made this double journal card that can come in. Oops, it's gotten stuck here. I glued the appliques on. I didn't sew them on, I glued them on, and it just stuck a little bit. So this is the card by itself with some velvet trim. Can be journaled on the back, and also with this one. So this is the set, and I just added the word velvet and lace to that lovely image of a vintage lady. And here we've just got a very simple tall tag made out of the craft cardstock, so it's a little heavier weight. I didn't add a topper or anything because it just slides in there nicely. I love the color of the birds, and I just added this lovely sentiment here. That's a stamp from Tim Holtz, and added a wooden bead, or sorry, a wooden button here with some roses on it in the pink. Gorgeous vintage lace on the side. And some beautiful pieces here. This is a doily, of course. Absolutely love it, and I love these vintage buttons. They're just so pretty. This page is a little bit more on the purple side. And we've got a double tag here. This can go inside, like so. And it's just plain, so lots and lots of journaling space for her. And then here is where I would put the other mini journal, which is this one. And I'll just flip through it for you. I've just included a little butterfly paper clip. I did the binding with, what do you call that, baker's twine. And here I did a double page spread in the back inside covers of some beautiful pink lace. And just tucked a little journaling card in each side that she can use for extra journaling space. And then just some tea-dyed papers like a doily, paper doily, some loose leaf paper, and scrapbook paper with the washi tape stickers on it, music paper, journaling paper, this lovely little stamp that I have. I got that from a lady in Russia. Absolutely gorgeous. It's so sweet with the little boy playing the flute and the girl with the ducks. So sweet. But just random pages and some stamping, tiny little envelope with a couple of things for her to discover inside. And the center of the signature, I just added some beads, very plain beads, and so on. Book page, vintage book page, stamping, and this is the other end of the journal. So that gives her a lot of extra real estate to journal in. So that just gets tucked into this beautiful doily or vintage crocheted lace. It actually came from a coverlet. So it was a very long piece and it is absolutely stunning. There's some beautiful vintage purple buttons that I've sewn onto here. I just love this effect. I think it's so sweet. And then I've just made another journaling card with some seam binding ruched here and some lovely purple fibers and stamping on the back. So that is this pocket. And we turn the page, and I really love this spread as well. It's got, making sure I'm still in frame, a doily, a white doily, Battenberg lace on this side, and a handkerchief that I have cut and added on this side. So here we've got another one of the double-sided tags that I have made out of the scarf fabric and done some stamping on the back with some beautiful scissors and a sewing machine. And then this belly band is vintage, beautiful vintage blush colored velvet and some other applique trim that I got. Perfect colors, the peachy pink. And then this tag just has a bit of vintage lace, some gorgeous silk at the top, one of these tiny tags, and a vintage button, and some stamping on the back of thread, thimble, and a button. So it carries on with our theme of sewing. And that just tucks into the side of this page here. And I did add this beautiful vintage trim that I got. Just as I was starting this project, I had ordered some beautiful trims, and they arrived in time so that I could include them. And this is one of them, and I absolutely love it. I think it's stunning. This is another envelope page that I have just cut into the shape of an envelope and done some stamping on the back. If you're looking closely at my stitching, my machine started to skip. And so when that happens, not very often, it's probably due for servicing, my machine. But I just take the needle out and rethread it. And what I do is I always switch needles. When I'm sewing 100% fabric, like for the base pages, I use a separate needle, keep it very sharp. And when I'm sewing through paper, I use a heavier weight, I think it's a denim blue tip needle, about a 14 or 16 gauge, in case you're wondering. And then this page here is our last one. I've just done a vintage crocheted lace belly band with this sweet little butterfly charm and a dangle. And then on this side, I've made a double tag out of cardstock with some beautiful blush colored lace over top, and then an applique that I had, and this actually moves a little bit. I just think it's so sweet. So very pretty. And this one comes out, of course, so she's got some extra journaling space. And I've just included my logo there, which is Vintage Elegance Inspiration. And love the pink butterfly on the back. And then this sentiment says, "We make a perfect fit." So she's got lots of extra journaling space here and just some beautiful dyed seam binding at the top. And on the inside pocket here, we've got the matching crocheted lace as the front. And I just put one little dangle pin on here with a tiny tag and a beautiful vintage button. Another tall tag for her to write on, and this one as well. with the peach silk topper. And that's it. It's a big chunky one. Turned out to be that way. I'm sure she's going to love it. It was a pleasure for me to make. It took me, I think, 8 days. Just working in, you know, snippets of time here and there, an hour or two at a time. I do watch my baby granddaughter a couple of days a week, so my crafting time is much more limited. But I wouldn't trade it for anything, watching my sweet little granddaughter. So Sandra, I really hope that you are excited to get this journal, and obviously you would have received it by the time I post this video, otherwise I wouldn't have spoiled the surprise for you. There are lots of extras in here, I think, that you will enjoy discovering. And again, you can swap out the lace ties for the silk if you prefer. And I'm not 100% sure if I'm going to put this on, but I think I will, because I think it picks up the color of the eyelet. So thank you for watching, and I hope this inspires anyone else to try creating a fabric journal. They're really very easy. You know, it basically took me about a week, and they're so fun to create. So thank you for your support and your comments. I really appreciate it. Hope you're having a great day. Bye for now.